Okay, why I don't negotiate for my own mental health. Not fucking my dogs, not somebody else's, but mine. That's like negotiating with the New World Order for your butthole. You're like, well, in order for you guys to stop harassing me, I will bend over. There's a thin line between bending fucking over to get the New World Order to leave you alone, which is what it's going to come to in many cases, and for some people it already has, but we won't get into that. Or and you know, taking psychiatric drugs to get them to leave you alone, and for them to covertly drug you. There's a thin line between them covertly raping you and them covertly drugging you. And here's the thing: you're going to hear a lot of dumbasses say that that is not true, but it is true. You know why? Because the same people who covertly drug me, the same groups of people, and definitely the same types of people, if not anything else, are the same types of people that covertly rape people. It's the same program. Gang stalking includes covert drugging. Just look at Dr. Hall's book, Guinea Pigs, covert experimenting, including covert drugging, and covert raping. He's documented multiple reports, and the hospitals have reported that these people have signs of sexual assault in many of these cases. So, you know, for you to accept drugs for them to leave you alone, you know, it's like accepting being a sex slave. I'm sure that these people who are being raped could offer themselves up as a sex slave, and they probably would be left alone. So the two are very much connected, damn near intertwined. So, you know, especially when you look at how it's both your bodies and they both have to do with sex. Because, like it or not, psychiatric drugs have sexual side effects. And the sadistic scum who get the same, they get some kind of sexual / sadistic pleasure, you know, masochistic pleasure from raping people and from drugging people. It's the same kind of pleasure. It's the same kind of pleasure centers in the brain, you know. You hear the feminists talk about rape is about control. There's an aspect of it that's about control. It's not, the main issue is not control. You know, it's about sexual, unfulfilled sexual desire. But there's an aspect of control. It's the same thing with fucking shrinks, you know. There's an aspect of control. And if they want to control your body and what drugs go into it, it's the same kind of filth who want to control it and what dicks go into it. And what sexual activities it has and what kind of mind state that you're in. Because also, sex is a mind state. When you're having sex, I'm sure I don't have to explain that to you, that you're in a different mind state that you are in when you're not having sex. So, you know, like I said, I'm absolutely right. There is a thin line between leaving your sexuality up to the state, you know, and leaving, you know, what drugs they have you. Not only that, okay, not just your sexuality, leaving I don't mean that actually. More specifically, leaving it up to the state whether you're a queer and who bends you over and all this sick gay stuff, right? And leaving it up to the state what drugs you take. Okay, not what drugs you can't take, but what drugs you're required to take or forced to take. That's why I don't agree with forced sterilization. You know? It would take an extreme circumstance. I'm talking super extreme circumstance for me to agree with forced sterilization. And we do not see anywhere near that we don't not. It would have to be so catastrophic, and the drugs would have to be 100% proven to work. We don't see that in psychiatry. There is no need to covertly or force medicate anyone. You can put them in a fucking cell. You know what they do in jail? Okay? In jail, when somebody acts up, you know, they throw them in the fucking hole. They don't force medicate them. So why is there ever a need to force medicate anyone? Why don't you just throw them in a fucking padded room and quit crying like a little bitch? And quit serving your pharmaceutical masters. There is never a need to force medicate anyone. There is never a need to covertly medicate anyone. Period. And I mean specifically psychiatric medications. In this case. But a case can be made from the other ones as well. So, you know, that's the main purpose of this video, and I'm going to make it short because I want that to sink in, okay? Remember this. There is a thin line. I don't respect people who do it. I respect people who bend over fucking for, who tell the state, whether or not they should be gay. And they let the state tell them whether or not they should be gay. And they bend over for wherever the state and the secret societies and the government want them to. I respect those kind of pussy-whipped, complete cowardly swine just as much as I respect the motherfucker who lets the state tell them what psychiatric drugs they should take. I'll tell you like this, If you're in a psych ward and you have to take drugs to get out, do that and get out. Then speak on it. And if they're trying to send you back to it all the time, once it's a mistake. After that, it's fucking war. It's war. And you might decide, you might let them take you in many times like I have. And you might, I did it for the purpose of taking notes and because it wasn't the time to strike. And I calculated, fine. But if you never go to war with these people after what, if you've been through what I've been through and you never go to war with these people, you're a fucking coward. You're not a man of honor. If you let the state covertly medicate you and drug you and you don't do anything about it, you're a fucking coward. You may as well let them covertly fucking rape you up the ass every fucking day. There comes a time to fucking go to war and to be ruthless and exact revenge and then some. And the more of these people that are involved, the more people you should hurt. I'll say it like this. I will limit my vengeance if and when I decide to take it to, I'll put the maximum number at the maximum number of people who were involved in my oppression, who were involved in my gang stalking as perps, who were involved in the covert drugging and staff at the psych wards and so on. Whatever that number was. That number's probably about 20,000. Something like that by now. Okay, I'll limit it to that. I will not, if I decide to start killing people, which would be the perfectly logical course of action and the honorable course of action, I will limit it to 20,000 or less. Or whatever the number is of people. Right now, I'm estimating at 20,000.